Caleb Sweethand's Plant, IBF super middleweight champion of the world. And if you're looking to take your training to the next level or even be a world champion like myself, I suggest Victor Kate's Fighters Training Sack. It's got everything you need.
Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here in Tampa, Florida, being joined with Artem Lobov, who faces Paulie malignaggi on pay-per-view this weekend in Bare-knuckle. You got here in Florida, you're a few days away from this fight. How are you feeling right now coming into this fight with Paulie?
Yeah, I feel ready. I feel happy that we're finally here, you know, because I realized that there's no point talking to this guy. He's one of those people that is just a scumbag, the lowest of the low. He will never understand this. He doesn't. I don't think he even understands that he's doing anything wrong. He's just one of those people. But I tell you what, everyone understands: pain. He understands pain. He understands broken jaws. He understands knocked out teeth. So I'm gonna do some explaining Saturday night.
You think him coming into this fight, you've already having a bare-knuckle fight, do you think he's, I don't want to say underestimating, but do you think he fully realizes the type of pace and what happens in there in terms of like when you throw a blow and all that?
No, he doesn't understand what he's in for. Even for me personally, for example, a guy that spent many years fighting MMA, I spent, you know, some of them training boxing, and even still, when I went in there, it was a bit of a shock, you know. It took some time to adjust. Of course, now I adjusted even more now having been in there in this camp. But for him, a boxer, he hasn't got a clue what he's in for. Even, I mean, look at his videos. He is shadow boxing with open hands. How the hell are you gonna fight with open hands, you idiot? You know, he thinks he's wearing gloves, but there's no gloves in this. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's in for. He doesn't know what the clinch is like. He doesn't know what it's like to get hit by bare-knuckle. He doesn't know what it's like to hit somebody with bare-knuckle. His hands are fragile. The cards are stacked against him. I am going to punish this guy.
You've been watching his videos. What do you make so far of what he's been showing in the videos? Because I've noticed there haven't been a lot for this camp, but a little bit of videos did come out a few days ago of him training in Miami.
Nothing special, you know, this guy is nothing special, and that's what I told you before. Yeah, it kind of seems, oh my god, he's a ex-world champion, but you know, people that don't understand, maybe to them it seems impressive. For me it is not, and I spoke this numerous times, you know, that in boxing it's very confusing. There's so many titles, so many different weight classes, everyone is a world champion, everyone is undefeated, and nobody fights each other. What's that? But to me, like, let me ask you this: can you honestly tell me that at one point in Paulie malignaggi's career, he was the #1 boxer in the world?
He was up there. I would say top 10. Not #1 because he happened.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And what does world champion mean? That means you're the best in the world. You just said, oh, he was up there, he was top 10, he was there. No, but
top 5 because
yeah,
he was in a tough era. You had Cotto, Margarito, you had these guys, yeah.
But he never beat those guys.
Yeah.
So to me, you're not a true world champion. You know, you never hear about this in any other sport. When have you ever seen 2 world champions in soccer? When have you seen 2 world champions in rugby, in swimming, in anything? No, there is no such thing. There's 1 world champion. That's what it means, the best in the world. But in boxing it's so confusing. Even look at the heavyweight picture. You've got 3 world champions, none of them fight each other, and all undefeated. What is that? You know, let's get rid of that. And I tell you what, the fighters themselves, they do want to fight. You know, they want to fight. It's the promoters they're trying to, I don't know what the fuck they're trying to do, but let's not do it. But the point I was trying to make is Paulie was never a world champion. He was never the best boxer in the world. That is a fact. So I don't get impressed by that title. I see what I'm dealing with. He's just an average guy. At one point in his time he was above average, but right now he's just an average guy off the couch, and I don't fear that.
A fan watching this who happens to be like a Paulie malignaggi fan or a boxing fan may hear that and be like, there's levels to MMA striking and there's levels to boxing striking. You might be underestimating the level that Paulie's at. He was able to hang in there with, you know, high-level guys like Cotto, like Broner, who many felt that he won that fight. What would you say to that?
Well, I was getting ready for it. You know, I'm getting ready for the best Paulie's version out there. I mean, look at the guys I've been sparring. John Nevin, Olympic silver medalist. Has Paulie ever won an Olympic medal? I don't think so. There you go. Yeah, and those guys, I specifically selected smaller guys that would be really, really fast. Like John Nevin was always known for his speed, and now he's made a successful move into the pro ranks. You know, Davey Oliver Joyce, another guy that I've been sparring. Really, really fast, small guys in your face, speeds, speed. As a result, I even myself had to adjust some of my training. I wanted to slim down a little bit to be able to keep up with that speed. I am ready for the best version of Paulie out there, but I know that a fat mess is showing up, so I don't have to worry about that.
Why do you think he's not in shape?
He just didn't have enough time to get in shape. You know, I've seen what he was doing. I've seen him before. He just didn't have enough time, number one, and number two, doesn't have enough love for it anymore. You know, his passion is long gone. That fire that burns there, that fire that keeps you training when your body says stop and you still keep going forward, that's long gone for Paulie. He doesn't want this anymore. He is only doing this because he is broke. That is a fact. That is true. He just, you know, again, this is the reality of boxing, the harsh reality of boxing. Many are left, you know, brain damaged and broke, and he's just one of those guys, and now he's got an opportunity to make a few quid. That's no problem. He should have just approached it the right way. We would have made a lot of money and he would have gone home, but instead he decided to act like a scumbag. So now this is not going to be as easy for him. He is about to feel some pain.
You mentioned earlier before that there was a few adjustments that you had to get used to with the first fight, and then coming into this fight that you learned from the first fight. What are those adjustments? Because I know a lot of people are still curious as to like how you approach like a training camp for a bare-knuckle fight.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give away too much, but there's a couple of things like, for example, your aim is very, very important. Like, for example, in boxing, you can throw out your jab anywhere. You don't care where it lands because you've got a glove. It lands on someone's forehead, so what? Nothing will happen to your hand. Can't do that in boxing. So even trying to, you know, judge your distance with a jab, it's a lot different now because you can't let that jab land on someone's forehead. Your hand will be broken and that's it. What have you got then? Then some clinch work as well. Against Jason, for example, I didn't want to stay in the clinch because I felt my advantage was when we were separate. You know, I felt like my boxing was crisper. My shots were faster. I had more power. I was dropping him. So I didn't want to stay there. I kept fighting out of it. And also he's an MMA fighter, so he knew how to work the clinch. Paulie, that's a different ballgame. I'm dealing with an amateur in the clinch here now, a guy that I'm bigger and stronger and have more experience than him in the clinch. So I will certainly be working my clinch a lot more in this fight.
In terms of like the conditioning and the pace of a bare-knuckle fight, how does that all work as well? Like how do you, oh, not how, but like what's the difference between like an MMA camp with conditioning in terms of a bare-knuckle fight for conditioning?
Oh, it's absolutely different. That's another thing. For my last fight, for example, I was just boxing. I was doing boxing rounds, 3-minute rounds, and I was even doing more rounds than the fight, my own fight would be, thinking that I'm doing more extra. But no, it's completely different because that was getting me ready for a marathon. But a bare-knuckle fight is a sprint. And if you get ready for a marathon and you have to sprint, it doesn't go well. And I felt that there. I was a bit fatigued towards the end because I didn't anticipate that. I got ready for it now. I'm ready to sprint for all 2 minutes, for all 5 rounds if needs be.
So it's just like a blast straight out for 2 minutes.
Exactly, it's a blast straight out. There's none of this, you know, settling down like it is in boxing, feeling out process. None of that. You get put into a blender, gets turned on for 2 minutes, then you take a minute breather and you're back in.
How would you describe like the moment like you hit someone in bare-knuckle? Like what's the difference there? Because I know with the MMA glove is what, like 4 ounces or 5 ounces? So is there a big difference?
There is a big difference actually. The way the shots ricochet off the person's head, that was very, very unusual for me. Because with the glove, what the glove does, it makes the shots stick. Mm-hmm. They stay, whereas with the bare-knuckle it just kind of ricochets like this. And also the feeling when someone connects with you, if it's a glove, it's more of a thump, whereas with bare-knuckle, it feels like somebody's slicing you. The pain is a lot sharper. Well, yeah, it's all good. It's good fun, that's for sure.
Why do you do this then?
I honestly,
I saw the photos of the last one. Like, why?
There you go. Pay me. Pay me. I, you know, I'm a prize fighter. I don't keep that a secret. I'm a prize fighter. Pay me and I'll fight. You know, I don't fight free, but if you pay me, I'm happy to put on a show for you, and I take that seriously. I understand that there are so many other combat sports people could be watching. There are so many other sports they could be watching for free. They don't have to pay for them. So if someone tunes in and buys my pay-per-view, I take that responsibility very seriously, and I make sure that they get their money's worth and then some.
With the training as well, are you like hitting the bags and sparring with like MMA gloves, or are you having to do with like bigger gloves to protect your hands?
Yeah, I was mostly, I mean, I do a mixture, you know, sometimes you go smaller because of course you need to get used to the size difference. But then of course I also like the big gloves because you can really let the shots go and protect your hands. And plus that adds weight to your hand, you know, 69 gloves, that's not easy, you know, so when you're doing pads with that, you know, that adds the speed, that adds, once you take the gloves off, everything feels so much faster. And yeah, so I do both.
But when you're like punching in a bare knuckle fight, do you want to go like all out?
I go all out.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just go all out. You probably don't, you know. It depends what kind of fighter you are. I don't see Paulie being able to, you know, withstand that kind of pain, because I'm telling you, when I was sitting between rounds in my last fight, my hands felt shattered. Like literally shattered. I've never been in so much agony. Like there was just pain going, but I just knew, right, once the bell rang, suck it up, clench the fist, and let's go again. Will Paulie be able to do that? I don't know. I don't think so.
I know with the last fight, people were wondering, you know, how your face would heal up. I'm looking at you, and you look pretty healed up now.
Absolutely, yeah. The cuts, they just look bad, but they heal really, really quick. It's the brain damage that you need to worry about. And 1 in 5 boxers retires with brain damage, you know, which is very, very scary numbers. So that's in order for that to not happen to you, you always have to make sure, you know, you do all the tests, you do MRI scans on a regular basis, and of course, train smart.
With this fight, tomorrow's the press conference. It's the first time you're going to see Paulie since your guys' press conference in New York. What are you expecting out of tomorrow and the rest of the week? Do you think he's going to continue with what he's been doing in the build-up to the fight?
I honestly don't give a shit anymore. I don't give a shit anymore. We are nearly there. I know I get my payback now, and that's all that matters to me. You know, I just want him locked in with me in that ring. And then let's see what happens. You know, he will answer for every single word, for every single thing that he's done. He can spit again that night, no problem, but he will be spitting out his teeth.
A lot of people have been asking, like, hey, where did this beef between you and him come from? I know he mentioned in the press conference that it was because you were part of the team and he felt that you acted to him in a weird way. And just, he said, like, overall, the whole team, like, kind of acted very disrespectful to him in terms of, like, where they put him and all that. Like, did you ever notice, like, any personal, like, beef interaction or any one event where you guys had, like, an altercation before all of this?
Never. We showed him nothing but respect. You know, he stayed with all the other training partners, you know, where they all stayed in the same house. You know, we all, like he even mentioned it, we came over to him and said, look, respect after the spar, you know, we showed him respect. I mean, what else does he want? But it all started with him getting his ass whooped and then crying about it, and it's all going to end exactly the same way. He's going to get his ass whooped and he's going to be crying once again.
So with the whole, like, the sparring situation is what you're referring to when him and Connor sparred, you know, after that, did you guys ever, like, speak or anything like that? Because for a lot of people, this came out of left field as to, like, why he targeted you out of all people.
He's just an emotional wreck. He you know, that's just him. He's just so desperate, so angry, and so frustrated. I don't know what he's doing. But another thing as well to note here is that he was forgotten. You know, nobody knew who the fuck Paulie malignaggi was anymore. No, he never even got so much publicity when he was fighting in his, you know, in his heyday. So of course, you know, he's a guy who thinks, okay, I'm broke, I have no money, and suddenly all this, you know, spotlight is coming onto him. So that's what I guess he just decided to run with it and decided, well, I'm a scumbag in life anyway, so who cares if there's a camera pointing at me? So he was just being himself.
The training partners you had for this camp and the camp back in Ireland, what did they all tell you about the fight?
Yeah, we just train hard and that's it. They all feel the same way I feel. You know, it's nothing to be impressed there. You know, Paulie was never... Even if he was in his prime, I wouldn't be afraid of a fight like that, because, you know, I'm not afraid to fight guys that don't really have that much power, that don't put guys away. You know, I will always have a chance against a guy like that. That's actually, you know, nothing to be afraid of. For him on the other side, you know, he has me in front of him, a guy with a lot of power, a guy that's going to keep coming forward, going to be in his face the whole time, a lot bigger and stronger than him. So he's the one that needs to worry.
What did John tell you about the fight, and what did Connor tell you about the fight, and if they gave you any advice on it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with them, we had already discussed this fight in length at the time when the spar happened with Paulie, and we broke it all.
Between you and him?
No, when the spar happened between Conor and Paulie happened at the time. So we broke down exactly how, what was good, what whatever, we knew
worked
everything
against that
exactly,
style.
what works against that style exactly. So I knew everything already. So we just need to again refresh all of that, watch the tape again, and that's it. So I was ready to fight him even back then, but I'm more than ready now.
I know MMA fans are going to be tuning into this and wanting to know, hey, did Conor specifically talk to you about this fight, or did he tell you anything? And is he going to show up on Saturday?
Absolutely. Me and Conor talk before every fight. We always have a little game plan. We always analyze the fighter that I'm going to be facing, and he give me some tips. And in terms of whether he's going to be at the fight or not, he always tries to be at my fights. If there is some business he needs to handle, he also got injured not long ago, and he can't make it, well then that's no problem. But if he can, he's always there, and I always have his support.
So at this point, it's like 50-50?
50-50, yeah.
If he goes into this fight, Paulie, and is jabbing and move and slipping shots as he usually does, do you see it as a very difficult fight?
No, because number one, there's a rule in bare-knuckle. I can step in the center and say that he has to meet me there, and he has to meet me there. Those are the rules. Bare-knuckle is all about fighting. Plus, when there's clinch involved, in boxing, even the guy that runs away, the way they usually deal when somebody comes into them, they clinch him and then wait for the ref to separate, and then they go on the bike again. No one's going to separate him here. Once we clinch, and we will clinch, look at any boxing fight, there's a lot of clinch happening all the time. So we will clinch at one point. And once I grab him by the back of his head, that's it. He's going nowhere.
In your opinion, then, is there no way you lose this fight?
No chance. No chance. No chance.
In terms of your MMA career, after this fight, are you going to want to keep doing this, or are you going to go back to MMA?
I would really love to try a boxing fight. I would love to, make a move into boxing. I've been boxing a lot lately. I have some great sparring partners back home, and I would love to try a fight with maybe someone like Amir. Why not? To me, I've seen his last fight. I can see that that fire that I spoke about, he doesn't have it anymore. He had it at one point. He was an Olympic champion. He was multiple times world champion, but in that last fight he didn't want it no more. He quit. Now, to be honest, if I really am honest here, maybe that was a smart thing. He just said, I'm not winning this. I'm just gonna get more shots here. I'm already getting paid, so fuck it, I'm out. But and that may be a smart thing to do, but the only reason he was able to do that is because the fire is not there anymore. He doesn't want it as much anymore. And I always want to fight a guy like that, because you just need to give him enough reasons to quit, and he will.
You don't think it hit him in the cup?
Come on, that's not. It hit him a little bit, but that's not. You don't stop fighting from that. Look at boxers; they're tough as nails. Like, look at some of the wars they have. What barely brushes your fucking thing, and that's it. You can't continue. In MMA, guys get kicked in the cup, and the cup is a lot smaller, and they still continue. Get kneed in the cup. Here with big glove and all, getting barely kind of touched. No, that was probably a smart move. Honest to God, that was for a guy that had already achieved a lot in boxing, and. Why not? That probably was a smart move. So, but at the same time, like I said, that looks good to me, because I've got that fire. It's burning hard in here, So to get a fight with Amir Khan, I will always fancy my chances. Yes, he's a better boxer than me. Yes, he is faster than me, better movement than me. But I know that his chin is gone, and I just only need to land one. He will not be able to put me away, and I'm going to have 12 rounds to land that one shot.
How soon would you like to do a transition into boxing? Because I know Amir does have a fight. He's fighting an Indian fighter in a few months, and after that, it's kind of like wide open as to who he could fight.
I don't mind. Whenever he is ready, I'm ready. I love to fight. You don't have to ask me twice. I'm ready to go next Saturday.
But when this fight's over, do you think that you and Paulie could patch things up? Usually when fighters fight, they show each other respect and they patch the beef up. Do you think that's a possibility? Do you want to do that?
I don't think that's even a possibility with Paulie. And if you look at some of his other fights, he got his ass whooped by Broner and still was talking shit to him in the ring after getting his ass whooped. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. That's just him. You know what I mean? You just have to. That's it. I look forward to putting him back in his place and then forgetting about this guy. That's the best thing I think anybody can do, is just forget this guy.
Artem, This fight, I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. It's an interesting one because we've never seen something like this, especially between two fighters that have high-profile names and really competent in their skills and the level that they're at. Thank you so much. I really appreciate speaking to you. Thank you. This weekend, this man right here fights Paulie Malignaggi on pay-per-view. Bare-knuckle.